Hello and welcome to this mid-morning taste challenge. I have two 40% alcohol clear rums. As you know, I've been doing rum for about a week and a half. Have a lot more left. Clear rum, not the dark rum or the gold. So I have, they're both 40% alcohol, and they're both bottled in the United States. And from what I can tell, they're made in the United States of all things. Usually, when you think of rum, you think of the Caribbean, but there are rum distilleries in Louisiana, for example. So here's Gran Legacy Silver Caribbean style rum with natural flavors. They're not showing any trademark designation, but it is trademarked. It was started in 2006, and it was owned by CVS Pharmacy, of all things. They own this brand. This was their private label line, Gran Legacy. And I bought this at CVS Pharmacy with the loyalty card. It was $10.99. They also had the vodka, the American blended whiskey. They call it American blend. Rum, silver, and gold, all kind of stuff. It was a big lineup on the shelf, and then just abruptly disappeared. And I couldn't figure that out. But then later, I think I did figure it out. I think they had lost interest in it. It wasn't really selling. When people went to CVS and bought rum, they bought Bacardi, for instance, because they do sell national brands there. So, yeah, it was really weird. And then I started seeing this showing up at independent stores, not affiliated with them, which was even stranger. But then I found out that Casey's convenience stores, Casey's General Stores, had acquired the trademark in 2024, way back in 2024. So what happened apparently was that CVS trademarked this, had Sazerac, or the Legacy Distilling Company, Buffalo Trace, Sazerac, whatever alias name they use. They had this made for them. Didn't really sell like they had hoped. This is my assumption. So they just walked away from the trademark and told the distributors, whoever wants it can buy it. Well, once the trademark went defunct, it looks like Casey's immediately acquired it or assumed it, paid the fees, whatever, to get it. So now they're claiming on the U.S. Trademark Office, I don't know why they'd be incorrect, that it's a Casey's brand to date. Now, you could laugh and say, well, most Americans don't buy liquor at pharmacies or convenience stores since it's not allowed there. And that's true. You're right. But some states like Louisiana and I think California, I'm pretty sure Kentucky, definitely not Mississippi or Texas or Alabama or Florida. Those that I know. You can, but depending on the state, you can buy liquor at a convenience store or a pharmacy or a grocery store. Okay. Now, Louisiana is one of those states. So I took advantage of it, if you want to say take advantage, and I bought this. It was $10.99 with the CVS loyalty card. All right, I bought it. Didn't know what to expect, put it on the shelf. It stayed there for years, didn't much care. But then I got to it. I said, I was going through my brands, and I said, I'll try it. And that's around the time I found out that it was the trademark had been abandoned. Okay, so this product, like I said in previous videos, has been causing me trouble. And by trouble, I mean that Herbie says, good morning. Good morning to you, Herbie. By trouble, I mean that you would expect that this would just never win. Private label brand, cheap, whatever. It's going to get killed. But that has not been the case. Hear sirens. I hope everybody's okay. Got a lot of wrecks around. We get a lot of car wrecks around here. Automobile, car, truck, motorcycle wrecks. Because we got major highways coming through here and a lot of intersections, junctions where the north-south highway comes across the east-west. And people, why would you ever look at the road when you could be looking at your phone, right? So I guess that's part of it, probably the big part of it. They're looking at their smartphone, not very smart, and they're crossing a major intersection. And I don't know, it's crazy. It's sad. Okay, now here's Clubhouse. Clubhouse is another one of these oddities. Now this is another one that looks like definite well rum, right? In the well, bar rum, whatever you call it. And that's basically what it is. Premium quality rum, bottled by Kentucky Standard Distillers, Bardstown, Kentucky. Well, I knew that wasn't a real company. I do like the aquamarine blue, the turquoise, and the gold and white, it seems to be a common color for rum with private label. And then there's a Clubhouse in the very background, if you can see that, with a pen and ink drawing of a sketch, basically, of golf clubs and crossed fishing poles. So that was the Clubhouse label. And they said it was adopted in 2018. Now, yeah, around 2018, I guess that's a good, yeah, right around that time, I started seeing Clubhouse showing up in Tangipahoa Parish, Jefferson Parish, never in my parish. We don't have counties in Louisiana. We have parishes, like Jamaica has parishes. They don't have counties, which it's basically the same thing. If you go to France, they have departments. They don't have counties or parishes. They have departments. Same thing. England has counties. Canada has counties. United States has counties. Louisiana, though, has parishes. Alaska has boroughs. And Jamaica has parishes. But like I said, it's basically the same thing, a local government unit. And usually they have a sheriff who is the law enforcement official. We have sheriffs, but then parishes might follow in Louisiana, many of the parishes follow the old French form of government called a police jury. Police jury. We used to have a police jury here. They would have signs up. Vote for Craig Clement, running for police jury, number 47 on the ballot. But then in 1983, they replaced it with a more county-style government called a parish government. Parish president, parish council, which is more like, standard. With executive, chief executive, the parish president. Where police jury, there was no executive branch. Because à la Francais, it was different. Okay. James Morgan says, morning. Morning to you, James Morgan. Burley Sullivan says, you. Cheers back to you. So Clubhouse showed up. Never saw it in this parish, but in Jefferson Parish and a couple of stores in Tangipahoa Parish, an Indian name, Tangipahoa, which is where the Tangipahoa River runs through on its way to the Gulf of Mexico. But around 2018, I started seeing this showing up. Gin, Clubhouse vodka, so forth. And then in 2018, 2021, 22, 3-4 years ago, it started to abruptly disappear. It just like overnight started disappearing. And I thought that was odd, International market had it, then all of a sudden they didn't have it. Total Wine and More had it. All of a sudden they didn't have it. I just checked before I did this video. They don't have it listed anywhere. I said, okay. Heaven Hill had it listed, all the different bottle sizes, what the proof was. Checked a few minutes ago, gone. I said, well, been discontinued. Now the The trademark, might technically still be in effect, but I would assume they're just going to let it expire because it goes for so many years, and if you don't renew it and pay the fees, it goes defunct. Okay, well, it's not my problem, not your problem. It's not anybody's problem, apparently. But that's Clubhouse. And I bought this particular bottle, this liter bottle, for $6.99. And I bought it at a liquor store, not a convenience store, not a grocery store, but a liquor store in St. Bernard Parish. The liquor store is called Super Discount Store, and I bought that in 2019, about a year after it came out. So it was a super discount. And they had 2-liter bottles. They had Ron Rio from McCormick Distilling and this Clubhouse from Heaven Hill. And they had a special, buy one, get one free. Buy one, get one free. Well, I definitely did not want 2 bottles of each of those. So I went up to the counter and I asked the man, I said, well, they're both $6.99 with that big flashy cardboard sign. Could I get one of each and get the discount? 2 for 1. No, you have to buy both of the same. Oh my golly. Well, there'd be no benefit for that. So I just bought one of each, $6.99 each. So I paid, $13.98. But I could have bought 2 of these for $6.99, 2 for 1. But what I'm gonna do? Give it as a gift? Nobody's gonna want that. And secondly, it would take. What I'm gonna do? Drink it all? I guess I could, but then I'd be paying double. So I wanted both. So I didn't do it, but it was available. Okay. Now, last time I went to Super Discount Store, which was late last year, I believe, when it was getting cold, they didn't have any kind of specials like that. Oh well. Now, I think that parish, St. Bernard, or as they pronounce it out there, St. Benoit. That's how they say it, St. Benoit. I think they got rid of that ordinance. I think grocery stores like Winn-Dixie and other can sell liquor now. I think. I'm not sure because I believe I saw Racetrack selling liquor. But years ago, if you went to St. Benoit Parish, they call it the parish. Like they're the only parish. There's 64 parishes, but they call where they live the parish. And I'm like, you're not the parish, you're just a parish. But that's what they say. I live in the parish. The parish. The parish. Okay. Yeah, they used to have, definitely had a rule. You could only buy liquor at a liquor store. That's why that parish had certain liquor stores, but I think they're fading because if they allowed liquor sales at the convenience stores, that'll kill them, They opened a liquor store in this town where I live recently, but I don't think they'll make it. They'll never make it, but that's their business. It's called cheap liquor. And I went in there and I did buy some cheap liquor, but they had a good selection. I mean, I can't lie. They had a good selection, but I think they're not going to, they're in a year, it'll be abandoned. They'll open up a new place there, like a pet grooming something. All right. So Gran Legacy still lives, but owned by Casey's convenience stores. Clubhouse, I'm almost certain that it's discontinued because it's no longer listed on the Heaven Hill website. And they're usually pretty comprehensive about their stuff, but then maybe that's not correct. So I think both of these are United States of America produced rums, which is definitely legal. Maybe not preferred, but legal. This smells standard, very standard. This smells like everyday, run-of-the-mill, ordinary, clear rum. Not in any bad way, but just ordinary. Let's call it fine. Kind of neutral. Like a lot of beer, it's kind of neutral. Liquor, neutral wine. They're just like they don't stand out. Not, and I'm not saying that as a criticism. It's just it is a reality, which is I can't understand why people paying extra money for something that's like as neutral as the other thing. Yeah, basically the same. Maybe there's a little fermentation action in the aroma. Yeah. Hmm. It's marginal. It's marginal. All right, taste time. Cheers. Well, yeah. Yep. Standard rum. Is it a bad rum? I don't know what's bad about it. I'd like somebody to tell me. I'd like somebody to sit down and give me a detailed explanation of why this rum would be bad. I don't believe they could. Um, I think a true rum taster, I'm not a true, I'm not certified as like some rum expert. They get certificates. People go to training, they get certificates. I'm a judge, I'm a taster. Okay. They could maybe detail why it's improper or something, but I don't believe they really could, honestly. That's why I would do it blind. I would never do an open tasting with a rum expert. I would make them do it blind, and so they don't know what they're getting. And you doggone right, I would try to trick them, and they would know they're being tricked, which would be good. It would make them more paranoid. I would want them to be paranoid. Okay, this is cleaner, clean. Although remember, I said the aroma had more like funky fermented something. Off flavors. Seem to have some kind of vanilla note, which it does say natural flavors added. Natural flavor added. No, flavors, plural, right? That's right. Mm, no. As soon as I said no, I'm thinking maybe it does have vanilla. I don't know. Mm, I would say mostly no, but do you know in the United States, can't answer for other countries, I haven't read the regulations, but in the United States, rum is allowed to have natural flavoring added, and they do not have to state that on the label. This one does. This one makes no reference to that. It's not required to. Okay, but I think this is a DSS, and I don't think this one is. That's another topic you can ask about it. Technically, it's a different product, but in reality, it's really not. But technically, it is. Okay, but that's another battle. Would I pay? Would I pay any more per ounce one versus the other? No, I would not. I would not pay more per ounce one to the other. I would call this a draw, almost a certain complete tie, a draw. Herbie says Royal Challenge by United Spirits. Hmm. I know about that product. Uh, I believe they also have a beer division, United Beverages, which has, or United Brewing, I'm not sure, but they make Kingfisher, famous Indian beer, Kingfisher. Pretty sure that's the same outfit. Actually, I know where to find Kingfisher, but I do not buy it because the price is so outrageous. I would never allow myself to pay that money for that 6 pack. So I'm not going to do Kingfisher. I did a review years ago when it was contract brewed in California by an independent company for United Beverages, United Brewers, UB, whatever UB. It was, pretty good. Actually, I liked it, but I can't say it was exactly like India because obviously I didn't have the Indian product. Now, I have had some true Indian beers produced in India. I had Hayward's 5000, beautiful. Taj Mahal lager, which I loved, and Flying Horse lager, which I loved. And I believe there was a Maharaja, which I loved. But I don't really get those. And I can still get Taj Mahal and Flying Horse, but the price is going so high. I say no, 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 no. Sorry, no revisits. Flaws. Well, I mean, there might be some flaws. If you're a real expert taster, you could pinpoint it and say, oh, it's got this wrong with it. It's not electrified, iconic, idiom, enzyme, codex thing. But for the regular person, the regular drinker, ionoscope. But for the regular drinker, they would say, I don't see where it really has anything wrong with it. It's all right by me. Seems pretty good. I'm not a rum guy, although I taste them regularly. Yeah, you know what I'm saying, regularly. But I mean, if you taste enough of these, you'll start to get a general idea of how they're supposed to taste. It's like a standard deviation. So you say, yeah, okay. And if it's way up, you say, uh-oh, strawberry shortcake. If it's way down, you say, bagasse. I'm not looking for that. That's rotted vegetative material. I don't think I want to drink that. So, but usually they'd be close to the standard deviation, and well, that's why it's standard. Now, you might say, well, what about these super high grade rums, silver rums, $200 to $300 a bottle? What do you think about those? Well, I think I would never buy those, but I also think I would like to try them. So, but somebody else would have to buy it. I'm not buying it. But yeah, I'm sure they're wonderful. But I went all out and bought some expensive blended Scotch whiskey that was over $230 a bottle. Well, after tax, it was $242 after tax. Was it the best blended Scotch I ever tried? Well, yeah, I guess it was. Yes. I can't say it wasn't, but really, it still wasn't up to what I thought it should be. For the price I paid, I really thought it should be like it should have been here, meaning off the chart. Like you can't see my hand, but it came out like it was here. It was high, but not high enough. For that kind of money, it should be above the chart, but it was definitely within the chart. So I thought, if you watch my face in the video, you can see my expression. I'm trying to like play it cool, but I'm not really doing such a good job. And I'm thinking like you could just like telepathically see I'm saying I got ripped off. But well, like James Bond said, you only live twice. So, well, I guess that was Ian Fleming who said that. But these are very close. Would I recommend Clubhouse? Well, I'd recommend it for $6.99. That's what I paid, $6.99 plus tax. So it was a very good price, and I still got a lot of it left. Look at that. Look at all that rum swishing around. Catch me in 10 years, and I'll probably be done with it. In 10 years, I'll be done with it. No money. In 5 years, I'll probably still have some left around. Gran Legacy. Look how much of it. 10 years, this thing might last. The world, it would be like, it'll never end. It's like an endless proposition with this. Honestly, I don't really take issue with it. It tastes all right to me. I can't even tell them apart. So I'm gonna say, but without any kind of confidence or any kind of reasonable amount of confidence. I think, mm, oh, no more left. I was hoping I could. I think, I think really it's a tie, but they're both bottled in Kentucky. They're from two different companies, which might trade rum with each other, which would be a problem. Not a problem for them, being a problem for me. I know these liquor companies trade liquor, but yeah, or should I say they barter? Barter is the official term. Bartering. I think probably this is the Grand Legacy, and it's the clubhouse. So you thought it was bad before; it's getting worse. I think I'm under the water now. The people say you underwater on that car, you owe more. That means like you owe more money on the car than the car is worth, which would be a very bad situation. Like you're paying car notes, but the amount you owe is higher than the value of the vehicle. A very bad situation to be in, which is why people always say, people that know about finance, like myself, will say you need to double those notes. You're paying $700 a month for the car note or the truck or the SUV, whatever. It's like, no, you pay 1,300 a month. And instead of paying it off in 72 months, you'll pay it off in 36. And you say, well, I don't have that. I don't have that much money left over. But then you look at their finances, you say, you do really, because you didn't really have to go to the festival and you went out to eat like 7 times in the past 7 days. And you went to this coffee place and you bought an $8 coffee. You could probably cut a lot out of your budget every month. And you don't really need that phone plan or those other movie channels or whatever streaming channels. And if they did pay that month, that extra on the car note, then they would pay it off. Like whoop, it would go away. I did that. I did that with the house note and car note. Like the car note was whatever. Let's just randomly say so much hundreds a month. But every time I went to pay the car note, I pay an extra 100 every month. And they would say, do you want to apply this to the principal? Well, common sense. Of course, I want to apply it to the principal. It's going to bring down the whole thing. I'd say yes. So then it was like for a 5-year note, but it got paid off in like 3 years because it just kept eating into the whole pyramid, so they was like gone. And then the house note, I would just pay extra, sometimes like $1,000 extra every month. I'm not even kidding about that. And then of course the bank would ask me the same question. Do you want to apply this to the principal? Yes. And then a 30-year note got paid. You get a 15-year note. Well, a 30-year note gets paid off in 12 years, and a 15-year house note gets paid off in 8 years, And you can do a lot. Let's think about it like this. You can do a lot with your money if you have no house note or rent. Now, think about your life. Think about what you're doing in your life. You say, well, here's what I make, whatever job you have. Let's assume, for the sake of argument, you have no house note or no rent forever for like the rest of your life. Now think about how much money you would have to buy things like Gran Legacy, Clubhouse. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not important, but it's amazing what you could do if you did it correctly. Okay, Tom says Dave Ramsey, great planning, great financial management. Like, live like no other so you can live like no other. Yeah, so I agree with much of what he says. I don't agree with everything, definitely, but I do generally. The thing, when I started hearing about this guy in the 90s, he was on the radio in the 90s. I would listen to him and I would say, well, I already do this. He would talk about it and I'd say, well, I do that already, so it was like a convergence. I was doing that already and I had no training, just like common sense, like, well, but he would say, yeah, I would say, yes, this is very, this is true. This is very true, so you can have a lot more money every month if you have no money to pay anybody. You know what I mean? If you don't owe anybody money, then you can have the money. Now, of course, the government's going to seize it. That's another problem. But yeah, I agree with that. I always agree with that. And somebody told me one time, I thought they were crazy. I thought this person was crazy. He told me, oh, don't pay your house off fast because then you won't get a tax break. And I said, are you crazy? What are you talking about? You get like an incremental, yeah, you do get a tax rebate or whatever they call it, credit, if you have a house note. I said, there's no way that's worth it. I said, I said, whoever told you that must own a bank telling me don't pay off your house fast because you won't get a tax credit. I said, are you kidding? I said, you must be joking, right? So I paid off this empire and this empire in 2005. We talking about 20 years ago as of next month. I think it was July. I'm pretty sure it was July of 2005. I said, you think I'm going to pay a house note so I can get some like minuscule, insignificant tax credit? Are you out of your mind? Okay, let's look at the comments and we out of here. Domino's Pizza, probably not the actual company, says, nice, clean look. Thank you. Good shows, Ronald. Get a Hennessy VS and put it on ice. Well, I have bought Hennessy VS in the past, and I would probably buy it in the future, but I guarantee I will never put it on ice. I will drink it neat at room temperature. That I can assure you. But I do like Hennessy. I know it's a whipping dog. People love to talk about how horrible Hennessy is, but I don't see that. But anyway, I like it, But anyway, all right, take care, everybody. Bye-bye.